Welcome back to Where Rams Walk. Hope you well. Derby fans slightly divided this week. Great performance against Ipswich. Deserved more from it, but where's your head at on Lewis Travis? Some fans have said, yeah, he shouldn't be playing again. Other fans are saying, leave him alone. What's your opinion? We've got Luke Payton and Stace back with us this week to give their view on what was a very fascinating game at Pride Park. And welcome back. Plus, we're also talking about Valentine's Day. Who's the first ever Derby player you fell in love with? Plus, we're doing the A to Z, and we're up to letter O. Stay tuned for that. First of all, thanks for all your comments on last week's video. Absolutely loved reading them all. We're the only podcast, I think, that replies and reads them all. Steffi says Stace was right about Sammy Smodics choosing the bigger club. Tommy Docherty was put in there, of course, for probably one of the worst managers ever. And David Clarkson says, and I'm unsure that the bald-headed panel man watches the same team. Travis has only played one near-full game, and other than that, he's been absolutely bang average. And that leads us nicely, Stace, if you don't mind, as to what does the bald-headed panel member think of Travis this week, please?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag for him, wasn't it? Own goal, the second yellow card, he just didn't need to get involved. Ipswich had been time wasting from pretty much the first kick of the game, and he's fallen into that trap. He didn't need to get involved. It was naive, which is a bit disappointing for someone who's the captain of the side. But it wasn't his finest game. But it gives, I would imagine, Fraulo a chance to stake a claim for a starting spot. But it is what it is. It's frustrating. But
yeah, we'll talk more about
and I'm not bold. Choose.
Yeah.
My hair.
Chris said, any word on Eustace's captain's performance today? At least he's banned next week before he walks straight back in the week after. Did we keep the receipt? And that's as harsh, Luke, as some of the tweets have been about this Travis situation. Where do you stand? Do you want to tell some Derby fans to get off his back, or are you part of this camp of getting a bit frustrated with him?
Well, it's not like Derby fans jump on someone's back after one bad game, is it? Let's be real. I mean, no, Saturday, it wasn't his finest game. I don't really want to get into the referee much because I could be here all night, but the first yellow's just not even a yellow. And then, like Steve said, he just plays into Ipswich's hand, players rolling around on the floor. He gets too involved. Obviously, he wants to get the ball back to get up the pitch, try and get an equaliser, but yeah, he don't really need to get involved. But the last couple of games, Travers has been really good for us. He's been decent, and he deserves that spot as our captain. I'm not going to slate him for one poor game that he's had. He's going to be instrumental to us trying to get into that top six in the middle of the park, and people just need to get off his back. It's one poor performance, and we'll see better days from him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Peyton Phil says, everything that's wrong with football was that incident there. Not Travis, but the pathetic behaviour of the Ipswich Town cheat, followed up by the gullible ref. What happened to his yellow for time wasting? Yeah. What was your view of that second yellow? There's some fans that say, well, his knee went into his head and then he started rolling around. Do you think it was harsh?
I've watched it a few times, and from what I've seen of it, he doesn't touch him. He's going for the ball. He's maybe like slightly tapped his arm, slightly caught him, like not even really touched him with his knee. He's felt the minutest bit of contact and rolled around like he's just been kicked in the head. It's not a yellow card, I don't think, but in the same sense of Travis shouldn't have done it because he knew that player was going to time waste. He's been time wasting all game. He probably should have been booked in the first half for a challenge he made, similar to the one that Travis got booked for 10 minutes into the game. And then, yeah, he did get booked for his play acting and time wasting afterwards, which I don't think a lot of people did notice. He did get booked for it. But it was silly from Travis, and I think his performance was okay other than the fact that he had a really terrible first 10 minutes and an even worse last minute. So I think, I don't see people getting on Matt Clark's back for his red card against Charlton, which I'd argue were two silly fouls that he didn't need to make. And they're getting on Travis's back for two silly things and he's getting sent off. I think there's a bit of cross lines with that, which I don't think's fair. I think if Clark's getting treated one way, Travis should get treated the same, which, yeah.
Yeah, I think the issue is that Derby fans like a scapegoat, don't they? And now Caden Jackson's gone. It seems to be that Lewis Travis is the latest target. When Travis leaves at some point, there'll be someone else. And it's just the way Derby fans are for some reason. We seem to love a scapegoat. And yeah.
Okay. Moving on from Travis then a little bit. Nathaniel says, not bad, awful refs. Some solid performances out there, Stace. Merkin looked dreadful, but it's early doors. Frello and Ames were refreshing again. Yeah, Travis should have come off instead of Ozo, though. Yeah, are they right about those names there? Merkin, Frello, Ames?
I thought Merkin did quite well, to be fair, considering he's never played in English football. Eredivisie is a bit of a step up to play in the Championship. He did all right. I was quite impressed with his debut. I think there's plenty to offer on there. And Fraulo, again, comes on and is effective. And Owen Eames, I just love his carefree attitude of, I'm going to get the ball and do whatever I can for my team. It's great to see an academy product come in and want to take the game by the scruff of the neck and not shirk and hide. He really wants to try and impact that game. So I think there's big potential for Owen.
Yeah, good stuff. And that was echoed, I think, in this particular tweet with Luke as well. Ames has to start next week, so that's a positive. And of course, if he went down the end there, that's a penalty as well. Yeah, lots of people are saying actually it's a positive that Travers is not playing next week, so we get to see more of Ames. Do you agree?
No, I don't really agree because they don't play in the same position. Owen Eames is more of the Bobby Clark position or probably one of the wide players. So no, I don't agree with that at all. I think he'll still be on the bench. I don't think he'll get many minutes. I think if we are trying to fight for this playoff spot, Owen shouldn't be getting as many minutes as people want him to get because he's not proven himself yet to be in this sort of like charge towards the playoffs to try and get there. So we need more players who have been there, done it. But yeah, it's nice to see him come on and get some minutes because it's always nice to see a product from the academy come through. But no, he won't get as many minutes as everyone wants to. But I'm impressed with what I've seen coming off the bench.
Peyton, this one finally from on this game. Lewis says, best we've played at home in ages. As usual, the ref makes it about himself. Yeah, he finished the rest of that off. Yeah. Is that the best home performance you've seen in a while, Peyton?
I think it's a very different home performance because we could say Borough, we were very solid defensively, got the win, and I would argue that we played well in that game to stay in it against such a good side. But in a different sense, I think against Ipswich, we took the game to Ipswich a lot more than we have done at home all season. And I think really for 70 minutes, we were probably the better team. And in the grand scheme of things, had we taken our chances and had we not messed about a bit, poor defensively a couple of times, we probably would have won the game or at least got a point, which is a lot more than we definitely would have thought we would get in, say, 4 weeks ago. So I think, yes, it's a very good home performance, but in the same sense, it's also a very disappointing home performance because really, with how we played, we should have been getting more.
Yeah.
It's fine margins, though, that one, because everything we did going forward at Bristol City worked, and those final passes just weren't there against Ipswich. So, yeah, it's fine margins, but it was an encouraging performance against a team that's worth a lot of money. So, yeah. And we're still only 2 points outside of the playoffs. And I think we might see Bobby Clark drop into midfield against Swansea, maybe Sammy Smodics make his debut in the 10.
Hopefully.
That links us nicely to the next conversation because the Sammy Smodics transfer created a little bit of needle in the lead up to the game. I don't know if this had an impact on how Ipswich played, Luke, but Cash says Ipswich are pretty despicable today. They played great football and resorted to cheating to get their way. They should be absolutely ashamed of their behaviour. I don't know if you agree with that, Luke, but the needle between the clubs essentially came out from Kieran McKenna's interview the day before saying, look, Sammy Smodics didn't leave for footballing reasons, indicating there was an issue with him and his attitude in the dressing room. And then, of course, you've got counter-arguments to that. What did you make of all of that?
Yeah, it was strange when it came out from McKenna was saying, like, he's pretty much chucked him under the bus, really, and it pretty much cements him not really having an Ipswich career after this season ends. So, Yeah, I don't really know how to comment on it because we don't know what's happened in the background. We don't know what's happened, if actually anything has actually happened, or he's just said, right, I want this move. I'm not getting no game time. I want to leave. And if it's just ran McKenna up the wrong way and he's just said this in an interview. But no, I'm happy Sammy's here now. He's got 15 games to make the team better and contribute as much as he can. And we'll see after the 15 games if we sign him permanently, because I think he'll be an incredible addition to this squad. And in them 15 games, I know he can change something. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play.
Absolutely. And the reason the Blackburn Rovers are still in the Championship is because single-handedly,
Yeah.
Sammy Smodics' scores kept them up. And I think he bit back and said, "I'm finally playing for a coach that knows how to use me properly." Overall, how do you think Derby did in the transfer window, 1 to 10?
I'd say probably an 8, given the players that we've shipped out that were on the fringes and periphery of the squad and only playing bit parts as subs every now and then. So yeah, and then to get a player of Sammy Smodics quality in, Bennell looks at quite a lively prospect from Burnley, and another left back to give a bit of competition for places and give Elder a rest every now and then. So I think it's a positive, it's a really good window, really, personally.
Yeah. Any of you other two go higher than 8? I mean, I've seen some Derby fans say we've won the window. Forget Millwall and Birmingham's, whatever they've done. We did the best of all 24 clubs.
I think, honestly, it's probably one of the best transfer windows I've seen as a Derby fan, because we did everything right. We got rid of Jackson, we got rid of Black Taylor on loan, I think the only maybe little negative was having to get rid of Ibu. But then it came out we had an interview with Stephen Pearce, and he said that Ibu's sale allowed us to sign Merkin and Schmodics, who I think I'd snap your hand off every day for Sammy Smodics and Derry Merkin over having just Ibu and what we had. And I think to get rid of players who weren't getting game time, trim the squad down as well. I think there's still one space left. So if we want to get a free agent in, we're able to. I think everything's really, really positive, which shows how much as a club we've grown in even this last 6 months since the summer.
Good. Okay. Yeah, Luke, I mean, 10 out of 10 for you? Was it perfect? Or?
No, it wasn't perfect. I'd probably agree with Steve. It's an 8. It's probably the best. It's probably one of the best January transfers we've had. But Derby always like to leave it late, like we normally do. I think at one point I didn't know if we were going to get anyone, but Merkin came in really late, and Sammy was on the fringe of is it going to happen? Is it not? And then it did happen, and it's a great bit of business that is. We didn't get pressured into paying silly money for him. They've got the loan in. We can see how he is for these 15 games, and then after that, I think, right, do we want him in this team? Do we want him moving forward for the challenge next season? Depending where we are. But no, I think it was a really decent window. We got rid of some dead wood, all the League One players pretty much gone, not here now. We're moving forward. John's building this team to move forward, and yeah, it's really exciting.
Okay. Join us next week as, of course, we look back at the Swansea game. The league's top goal scorer is coming to Pride Park this weekend, so beware. More on that next week. This week, of course, is Valentines Day as you play Swansea, so we're asking about love this week, and who was the first ever Derby player that you fell in love with as you started following the club? Stace, who was it for you?
So it's a really bad one to a degree. Paul Empson played up front for us in the early 80s. Not very good, but he lived at the back of my house, so I was continually kicking balls over the fence to go round and knock on his door to ask for my ball back because he was a Derby player. But after that, Bobby Davidson, he was amazing in that run through the leagues up back into the top flight. But yeah, it was Paul Empson initially as a probably about 6-year-old kicking balls over.
Bro, Luke.
My first love was a man Martin between the sticks. I'm going to go for Mr. Mark Poom. Absolutely love that bloke. Also broke my heart when he scored against us for Southampton. But the funny thing is, I also at one point, I can't remember how old it was, I actually had dinner with Mark Poom, and it was unbelievable. So yeah, it
Awkward.
was my first. Yeah, a little bit, but honestly, I was young. I was young then, but no, absolute hero for me when I was young. So yeah, Mark Poom.
Brilliant. Peyton?
I've actually debated this a little bit, but I'm going to say somewhat a lot more recent. But I'm going to say Martin Waghorn because as I started watching football a little bit later on, his 2 goals against Sheffield Wednesday to keep us up, it was a hat trick, wasn't it? To keep us up, really made me fall in love with football. And also, I've then gone on to meet him quite recently a few times because he lives pretty locally to me, and he's a lovely guy. He's so nice, so down to earth. You wouldn't think he's a professional footballer. So I'm going to say Martin Waghorn.
Okay. So you've all actually gone and met the players which you actually fell in love with. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
In non-stalker ways, apart from mine.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Oops, that ball's gone over again. Right, let us know in the comments, please, who was your first Derby love. We're up to letter O in our A to Z to finish off this week. Anyone got anything good?
Leon Osman,
Okay.
absolute wonderful baller. Changed the season when we were going to get. We seemed odds on to get relegated. It was amazing, and it was the perfect loans. It shows how the loan system can work so well. He comes in, does a really good job in the Championship, and then goes back to the Premier League, and absolutely bosses it with Everton for 15 years or so.
Yeah, absolute legend.
Yeah, absolute legend.
Bro.
Exactly the same for me. Leon Osman literally his performances, his couple of goals kept us up. We was staring at the barrel of relegation, and he comes in, this young lad, and he just overperforms. Absolutely brilliant. People still to this day say he's the best loaning signing Derby County have ever made, and you can tell, an absolute what a player he was. And then he went on to do great things after us, and also, big up Leon Osman.
Smashing it.
I'd like to give a shout to a couple actual current players. David Ozo, he's been very good for the last 2 seasons we've had him. Struggled with injury, but I think if we can somehow angle sign him permanently, he could go down as an all-time. And then Richard O'Donnell, because honestly, when we signed him, I thought we'd never see him. And for him to come in and have the performances that he's had for Derby, I mean, it's really commendable for him, the staff, everyone. The fact that a 37-year-old who's not played in the Championship in 10 years can come in, concede 1 goal, which was a screamer, and be a really solid shot stopper as a third choice. I think that's really, it's really good.
Okay. Good shouts all around. Thank you. Are we happy to put Osman in?
Yeah,
easy.
Excellent. Good job. Right, on to letter P then next week. Join us for that. And of course, we'll look back at Swansea. Thanks for your company this week. Drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet already done so. Great to have you watching. 20 minutes of Derby chat every single week. Please squeeze us into your schedule. Have a great Valentine's Day beating the Swans.